A very warm welcome to IDFC First Bank presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 12. I'm Ritwika Gupta and you're watching our special weekend edition, Super Achievers Making New India, powered by VoiceWhat. It's a brand new weekend with two distinct conversations with two enterprising companies. On the show tonight, we'll be first chatting with Nalin Gagrani, Managing Director and Chairman Blue Pebble, followed by a conversation with Siddharth Bharwani, Joint MD and CFO, Jetking. Now, Blue Pebble is an award-winning design firm specializing in spatial design and environmental branding solutions, offering services like conceptualization, design, printing, furnishing and installation of various products for corporate interiors and exteriors. I caught up with Nalin Gagrani, Managing Director and Chairman Blue Pebble, to decode India's interior design industry, the inspiration behind Blue Pebble and his vision for the company. Listen in.
Every space tells a story, but when shaped by purposeful design, it inspires, engages, and transforms. Founded in 2017, Blue Pebble began as a spatial branding pioneer and has since evolved into a multidisciplinary powerhouse, integrating design and build, digital innovation, and brand strategy. In under a decade, it has transformed 45 million plus square feet of workplaces across India. At Blue Pebble, design is more than aesthetics. It's about crafting immersive brand experiences. From environmental branding and 3D murals to interactive digital installations, every project reflects a 360-degree approach to workspace transformation. At the helm, Mr. Nalin Gagrani, a visionary with 30+ years in design, strategy and branding, has positioned Blue Pebble as a trailblazer, earning industry accolades and becoming one of the youngest MSME listed on the NSE. With a commitment to innovation, Blue Pebble leads the way in AR, VR and interactive media, shaping workplaces that embody identity, culture and the future of work. With expansion as its DNA, Blue Pebble continues to push the boundaries, shaping workplaces that reflect identity, culture, and the future of work, one transformative design at a time.
Nalin, welcome to ET Now. It's a pleasure to be chatting with you today.
Same here. Thank you so much for having me here with you all.
Absolutely. So first I want to begin by talking a little bit about you. With over 30 years of experience across sectors, tell me, how has your journey been so far and what was the inspiration behind Blue Pebble?
Well, I would say that 30 years of experience has been very interesting and very, very challenging to that extent. A lot of learning. I've had almost 6 different sectors that I have worked in, starting from consulting, into aviation, into retail, into telecom for some time, and finally into digital. And it's been from a product management side, marketing, sales, distribution. So I think I've got a tremendous amount of exposure and experience into this sector, and eventually I was heading a business with a P&L responsibility.
Sure.
And therein where all of this information as to what to do next, and that's how the inspiration came in for Blue Pebble then at that point of time.
Fantastic. Now, the interior design industry, it has seen significant transformation over the years, whether it is due to rapid urbanization or higher disposable income. But tell me, take us through some of the changes that you have seen over the years and also some of the challenges perhaps that you faced along the way.
I see, if you see overall, India has been tremendously growing, and we've seen that we are one of the largest growing economy in the world today. Almost at a 6 to 7% CAGR. As far as the real estate industry is concerned, it is almost contributing to 15% of the GDP today. Mm-hmm. And it is slated to be hitting a $1 trillion mark by 2030. Sure. So the space itself is a huge space, and we believe that within this space we've carved out a niche for ourselves. Mm-hmm. In our sector and segment, we believe that design per se is a core strength which we have built the whole narrative on, and sometimes you don't get paid so much on the design, and hence from the beginning what we have done is design and build is a solution. So we do design as well as we fabricate, manufacture and implement across whichever offices and sectors that we are in.
Fantastic. Now, Blue Pebble is built on a few foundation values. You are known for your distinct design, delivering excellence and also quality supremacy, right? So tell us, how do you ensure that the company is aligned to all these foundational values?
So when we started off, we were very sure that with the background that I had, and we knew that after working for a lot of MNCs and getting into professional culture, I was very clear that I want to build in a culture which is very professional, top line, and we want to create a mark for ourselves in the industry that we are in. And we chose since I had an exposure on the design and marketing and communication side, we chose people with a lot of integrity, a great amount of experience, and coming in from very good pedigree. So that was one thing which was giving us the design edge which we had. We also ensured that the people who are coming on board also went for a lot of upgrades in terms of attending seminars. It could be domestic, attending design forums internationally. So we send people to Milan, to Paris, to London to see various aspects of how is the design scenario evolving and what's the learning that can then people get adopt to ourselves. We also make sure that we are getting state-of-art machinery so that quick delivery times and service levels are taken care of. So these are few of the things which we make sure people are upgraded, machines are up to live, and we do. And the service delivery, since the background is service, and we believe that that is the best where you can turn around time. So service is one aspect which we take care of very well from all across, from the bottom to the top echelons of our company. That's the way we manage the whole situation.
Right. Now, sustainability has been a hot topic across industries. So how are you ensuring eco-friendly and sustainable manufacturing?
If you see, net zero is a worldwide topic where people want to get into sustainable and net zero solutions. The world global warming is happening. Yeah. And all of the multinationals today and even the large domestic corporate houses are wanting solutions which are either LEED certified or either net zero or are moving into sustainable. So complying to that, as well as those are the customers who are coming to us, and we've ensured from beginning itself we use green inks, green printing solutions, we use biodegradable products, so that anything we use waste in terms of our murals, artifacts and whatever material that we use. So we co-collaborate and make sure that the end product is such that those are used, and we also get in artisans who are across the country who make material, clay, and all of those materials are used.
And how do you view technology? Like, how is technology reshaping the interior and design industry, especially in India?
See, technology in India is known for the tech edge that it has. And like in any other sector, our sector also has a lot of tech intervention here. What we look at is we imbibe any change in technology. So now with artificial intelligence, with augmented reality and immersive experiences coming into play, our teams are all exposed to the newer tech tools which are available. We also ensure that we deliver those solutions to the end client. So what we do is, if it's a physical wall and you have a mural or an artifact or a design on that wall, we develop QR codes, and that QR codes can be scanned in, and then AR, an augmented reality experience can be given. So actually the customer carries that experience along with it.
Right. Now, Nalin, you're one of the few, in fact, the first in your industry to go public and be listed on NSE. Tell me, how has this accelerated growth? Because, your company is very young, since 2017 till now, right? In 7 years, how has this accelerated growth impacted your overall vision for the company?
See, from beginning, there was an intent in terms of, since I had an exposure on the digital sides, and a lot of people were keeping startups, and there were IPOs coming in, and everybody was looking into India in a big way. There was an inherent desire to build a company which has, and then go public. So always it was that few years of brick and mortar, get in profitability. So we have been a zero debt company. We have been profitable from the time we've started off. And we thought that getting into an IPO at an opportune time would be the best for the brand. And we being in the industry, there was no benchmark as such. So it was a bit tough to convince people that we are into an industry which is good. And some of the big brands that we are working for, almost all MNC majors, we have done offices for. So that was a convincing factor, but when we did that, we did get the IPO listed, and it was, almost 46% times oversubscribed. And what we see is the impetus on developing, taking newer machines, getting into more software-driven stuff, getting into more technology. We are building a very interesting software platform which currently would help all architects, all infrastructure heads, facilities heads. Any supplier can be running on that platform and can make their life simpler.
Fantastic. Now, in just about 7 years, you have created over 45 million square feet of workspaces. So as we are wrapping up this conversation, tell me, what is your expansion strategy for the next decade? And is there a blueprint for global expansion?
It's always been in the horizon in terms of how do we channelize and take our company to the next levels, and we've been kind of from just a 2-member team to a 70-member team, and now just being an office of just at Bombay, and we've now at all the metros.
Sure.
We see in the next 5 years to a decade, I would say that we would want to expand into the core what we are in, go more deeper into more clientele which we have, so service them better. And vertical expansion, if I tell you, we are kind of, there are 2 or 3 broad verticals that we work on. So which is currently environmental branding, which we are core, which we started off with. Signages, solutions, murals, artifacts, sculptures, that's the one wing of it. We've also recently started about a year back, which is also in the horizon of us taking a next step, which is just taking a bare shell office and doing end-to-end work for it. So basically designing the office and then making sure it is aesthetically very beautiful for people to come in and employees to kind of really have that wow factor. And our industry, we are a cherry on the cake. So we basically make sure that the office is vibrant, colorful, people really enjoy, and it is also one of the factors people stick on. So we bring in some beautiful, and we make sure that the values, ecosystem, the brands are taken into the office. So this is another second vertical that we believe. And another thing is that since we have a lot of design and marketing experience, and another industry which is shaping up very well is the digital ecosystem. If you see, digital advertising, digital marketing is growing in a very, very big way. It's contributing almost about 44% of the overall spends now, and is overtaken the erstwhile normal advertising scenario. So that we're building up a full-fledged an organization for that. There's a subsidiary of our company, which is Blue Pebble Digital Private Limited, is already formed in, and we've taken that as one of the things. And the other thing I talked about is the platform. So the digital platform, which will then relate to, and this will be reaching almost all smaller and bigger architects, all smaller infrastructure heads and facilities heads. So that is another thing, which all these 4 or 5 combinations, I believe in the next 8 to 10 years should be able to take us to a tremendous amount of growth. And hopefully with the team that is backing us, we will be able to grow and do well for ourselves in this sector.
Well, fantastic. All the very best. It was lovely chatting with you.
Same here, same here. Thank you so much. Thanks for being here. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. It's time for a quick break here. We'll be back shortly. Stay tuned. Welcome back to IDFC First Bank Presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 12, and you're watching our special weekend edition Super Achievers Making New India, powered by VoiceWhat. In this segment, I'll be shortly joined in the studio by Siddharth Bharwani, Joint MD and CFO Jetking. He's going to give us an overview of the tech education landscape, the company's core mission, and how Jetking plans to stay ahead of the curve.
Jetking, India's premier IT training company, has been pioneering education and now Bitcoin treasury adoption in India. It has consistently delivered high-quality training in cutting-edge IT fields such as cloud computing, cybersecurity, and the metaverse. And in a landmark move, has adopted the Bitcoin standard on their balance sheet. Founded in 1947, Jetking pioneered electronics education and went public in 1986. In 2022, it took a bold move and became India's first publicly traded company to adopt the Bitcoin standard, demonstrating its forward-thinking approach and embracing the future of finance by allocating a major portion of its treasury reserve assets to Bitcoin. Jetking is the only Indian company leveraging Bitcoin to secure and grow its future. With decades of experience, a thriving IT business, and innovative adoption of Bitcoin, Jetking is now uniquely positioned to lead the digital revolution. Let's hear more about this pioneering shift from the company in the upcoming interview.
Siddharth, welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to be chatting with you today.
Thank you. Thank you. Pleasure's all mine.
So to start off with, Siddharth, give us an overview of the tech education landscape here in India and the APAC region, actually. What are the trends that are shaping the industry?
So I think education has gone through a massive shift in the last decade and a half. We've seen traditional education offerings, which have possibly become redundant to a very large extent after COVID. Sure. And from there on, we've seen a lot of edtech businesses that have come in today. There's about almost 18,000 different edtech offerings that are there in the country. So there is a massive shift in the way people are consuming learning as a whole or education as a whole. I think the trends that will come in the next decade or so is largely going to be AI focused and AI hybrid learning programs, wherein a lot of the education will be AI agent oriented, and you will have your own personalized faculties, so to speak, and they will help you navigate your education platform. So I think in India, considering data and consumption is so high on the web, we will see a massive shift in AI as an offering. So I think I'm bullish around AI.
So shifting gears a little bit, tell me what exactly is a Bitcoin treasury company?
What exactly? So it's a very, very, very new model, right? So Bitcoin as an asset class has been around for about 17 years now. And ultimately, the characteristic of a Bitcoin or the software itself is that it is extremely, extremely scarce. So there won't be ever again 21 million is all there is. And by 2035, the last Bitcoin will be mined. After that, there will never ever be more Bitcoin. Whoever has Bitcoin will remain either the owner of that Bitcoin or sell it for a very high value. So that's when a Bitcoin treasury company comes in. What happens is it's the race to have the most Bitcoin. It's like acquiring land in Altamount Road next to Mr. Ambani's house, for example. If you had the opportunity to do that today, you would be going all out, I assume. Mm-hmm. So a Bitcoin treasury company has two main goals. They acquire the most amount of Bitcoin that they can, as early as they can, as cheaply as they can, and then make sure they save it and secure it safely in an enterprise custody solution. So that's where we are pivoting our business to.
Right. Now, Jetking has been a leader in tech education and IT training, for over decades. Talk to us a little bit about your core mission and how that has evolved over the years.
So it's a very interesting subject that we discuss internally, which is our mission is to provide economic independence to 10 million people in India. And how we were doing that before was through education. So we used to make sure that students are employable enough so that we give them a job. We have a 100% job guarantee for that effect. That same mission is getting expanded towards this whole Bitcoin feature, right? So what happens is once you understand Bitcoin, you realize that saving in Bitcoin is extremely important. So everything that you're not using or storing it in fiat, so it can be INR or any other currency, it is depreciating over time. We all know inflation is tough. There is a lot of, it's expensive all across the world. And INR is getting depreciated by any other currency, right? So saving in Bitcoin becomes a strategy. So the mission has beautifully extended itself of economic independence towards us becoming a Bitcoin education company in the next 1 year or so, wherein what we will do is we will teach people about Bitcoin. And once they understand it, beyond the price factor of it, there is a lot of technology or software that is built into it.
Okay.
So that will help people reach a better financial outcome.
Right. Tell us a little bit about your financial strategy as the first publicly traded company to adopt the Bitcoin standard. How has it shaped your financial strategy?
So we started investing, or we started looking at Bitcoin as an asset class in 2022. What we said was a software like this. So I look at Bitcoin as a digital capital software. A software like this has not been hacked so far. It has never been down. It has a 99.99% uptime,
Sure.
and it can be accessed globally. So being in tech for all these years, what we realized was Bitcoin as a software, as a tech solution, has outlasted any other tech solution so far, and the internet itself to a very large extent. So we started looking at Bitcoin in 2022 post-COVID, and what we said was Bitcoin is going to be scarce. We know that there won't be any more Bitcoin after this specific time. And we started as an investment policy where we said, okay, fine, we'll allocate some part of our treasury to Bitcoin and we'll see how it goes. In 2024 of November, our board of directors, our shareholders, everyone was encouraged with the holdings that we had in Bitcoin. And what we said was we will make it a Bitcoin treasury reserve asset. So anything that is excess from our education business or sale of anything else in our operations, we will park it in Bitcoin. And that's where we started moving towards this more aggressively.
Fantastic. Now, MetaPlanet, often called Japan's MicroStrategy, has been making waves, with its Bitcoin-focused strategy. Do you see any parallels between both the approaches?
So I think the playbook has been superbly defined by Mr. Michael Saylor of strategy. And he was the first one who started doing it in 2020. MetaPlanet adapted the same playbook, and this is the same playbook that we are adapting. I think because of the way businesses are structured today, in the States you have an ETF around Bitcoin. What you end up doing is distribution of Bitcoin becomes super important at a later stage. So for example, you don't want to go through an exchange to buy Bitcoin. You don't trust the exchange. There's some hacks happening. It's unregulated, the exchange itself. What you can do is you can always buy Bitcoin proxy stock. So that is what MicroStrategy has become. That is what MetaPlanet has become. And that's the intention for us as well.
All right. Now, Siddharth, your career has spanned finance, marketing, strategic leadership. Tell us, what are the key lessons that you have learned over the years, and what can entrepreneurs watching today's show take away?
So I think rigor and relevance, so a lot of times entrepreneurs or people starting up in any field in startups, I just personally feel that they start from a burn cash mentality. I think as a Sindhi or as someone who was born into a publicly listed company, burning cash made no sense to me. And if you start a business to start burning cash, I personally feel the journey is very long. So I think having a good rigorous business plan before you start off, which is not burning a lot of cash, and profit first should be the mindset. And in terms of relevance, the right solutions have to be solved. There's a lot of Me Too businesses that come up, which is maybe offering a 1 minute faster delivery, for example, which is a great solution. It makes life a lot more easier, but there's only that many that you can have, right? So the relevant problem-solving businesses that can really push entrepreneurship forward. So rigor and relevance is the two things, and profit. I think making sure that you are in profitable business is super important.
Fantastic. And finally, tell us, what is your vision for the company and the industry at large over the next 5 years or so?
So education industry is our bread and butter. We will be hyper-focused on education in India. Whatever business we scale from education, it will be parked in our Bitcoin venture. We intend to become a Bitcoin first company. So what that means is we will have education on Bitcoin, education in Bitcoin ecosystems, education around pretty much whatever to do with Bitcoin, we will educate and make sure that people get jobs in it. The second story is to become the highest owning company to have Bitcoin on our balance sheet. And as and when there is more clarity around how Bitcoin is treated in India, we will scale up our operations to make sure we reach a sizable number in terms of the Bitcoin that we hold on our balance sheet. So these are the two main avenues.
Fantastic. It was lovely chatting with you, Siddharth. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
With that, it's a wrap on this weekend edition of IDFC First Bank Presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 12. We hope you enjoyed the conversations. This is Ritwika Gupta signing off. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.